This video is about review for power rules of derivative. For number 1, find y prime. That means we need to find the derivative of y. Y equals 1 over 4x minus 7x minus 2x fourth power minus 1 over 5. Therefore, y prime equals. I will do each term do the derivative, but make sure you have to change each term into power form. So we have 1 over 4 x to the negative first power. We do derivative. Then minus 7x, we do derivative. Minus 2x to the fourth power, we do derivative. Then minus 1 over 5, we do derivative. This is a formula. Drop down the exponents, make exponents minus 1. Therefore, you will have 1 over 4 times negative 1. Then negative 1 minus 1, that is x to the negative second power. For this one, linear function, the derivative will be the slope minus drop down. So 2 times 4x to the third power. Then minus 0. Constant number, derivative of constant number equal to 0. So I organize. You will get the negative 1 4x squared, because x to the negative nth power equals 1 over x to the nth power. And we can do the backward. Then minus 7 minus 8x to the third power. This will be the y prime. Now let's go to B. Y prime equals negative 9 x to the fifth power. We do derivative. Plus 5x derivative. Minus 2 over 3 x to the negative fourth power. We do derivative. Then plus 6 times x to the negative third power. We do derivative. So we have drop down negative 9 times 5 x to the fourth power. Then derivative of a linear function will be the slope. Then we do minus 2 over 3. Drop down, we get that negative 4. X, we do negative fifth power, because negative 4 minus 1 is negative 5. Then plus 6 times negative 3. X, you got to do negative fourth power. Then we organize. You get that negative 45x to the fourth power plus 5. Then minus, denominator will be 3. And this one, 2 times negative 4, that's negative 8. Then x to the fifth power plus negative 18 over x to the fourth power. Remember the negative exponents. That's you go to denominator, then change negative exponents to the positive exponents. Therefore, here, negative will be a positive. Negative 45x to the fourth power plus 5 plus 8 over 3x to the fifth power minus 18 over x to the fourth power. Now let's go to number 2, find the dA by dt. Remember, we do the distributive property first. We can do the derivative of each term. So we have negative 4t plus 8t squared. Therefore, we have dA by dt equals negative 4t, we do derivative, plus 8t squared, we do derivative. You can get negative 4. Because this is a linear function, the derivative will be the slope. Then plus 8 times 2t, because these two drop down minus 1. Then you get the negative 4 plus 16t. Now let's go to B. We do the FOIL first. Then we multiply by 1 over 2. Therefore, 1/2 we stay. 6 times t is 6t. 6 times negative 7 minus 42 minus 5t squared plus 35t. Then combine like terms. You will have negative 5t squared plus 41t minus 42. Then we multiply by 1/2. You will get negative 5 over 2t squared plus 41 over 2t minus 21. Then dA by dt equals negative 5 over 2t squared, we do derivative, plus 41 over 2t, we do derivative. Then minus 21, we do derivative. You will get here negative 5 over 2. Drop down this 2. Then minus 1. You will get the 2t plus 41 over 2. This will be 0, is gone. Therefore, we organize, reduce. You will get the negative 5t plus 41 over 2. Now let's go to number 3. We want to get the derivative of f of r. First of all, we will working on 2r minus 3 squared first. Here's the formula. A plus b squared equals a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Or you can working on the FOIL. You will get the same answer. Here's the pattern. You will do the first term square, get the a squared. 2ab means these two multiply, then times 2. B squared means the last term square. Remember, any term square will be a positive. Therefore, f of r equals pi times 2r squared is 4r squared. These two multiply, that's negative 6r times 2. You will get the negative 12r plus negative 3 squared is 9. Remember, negative 3 squared is a positive 9. Then we do distributive property. You will get the 4 pi r squared minus 12 pi r plus 9 pi. Therefore, the f prime of r equals 4 pi r squared, we do derivative, minus 12 pi r, we do derivative, then plus 9 pi, we do derivative. Pi count as a constant number. Therefore, these two drop down, then minus 1. You will get the 4 pi times 2 r minus. This is a linear function. Therefore, you get the 12 pi. This will be 0. So we get the 8 pi r minus 12 pi. Now let's go to B. First of all, we have to do distributive property. So we get the f of r equals 4 over 3 pi r to the third power minus This is 2 pi r squared. Then we do the derivative for f of r. You will get 4 over 3 pi r to the third power. We do derivative. Then minus 2 pi r squared. We do derivative. Using power rule, 4 over 3 pi count as a constant. So drop down. That's 3 r squared. Drop down minus 1. That's the rule. So minus 2 pi drop down times 2 r to the first power. We organize, reduce. You will get the 4 pi r squared minus 4 pi r. Now let's go to number 4. Find the dt by dr if t equals r squared minus 100 over r. So dt over dr equals r squared. We do derivative. Minus 100 times r to the negative first power. We do derivative. R squared, we know that is 2r minus 100 times drop down. That is negative 1. Then r to the negative second power. So we get the 2r. Negative 100 times negative 1 is plus 100 over r squared. Now let's go to B. dA by dH if A equals 2 pi h plus 1 over 3h squared. dA by dH equals 2 pi h, we do derivative, plus 1 over 3h squared, we do derivative. You will get, this is a linear function, so we get the 2 pi plus, drop down, so 1 over 3 times 2, then h will do the first power. So we organize, you will get the 2 pi plus 2 over 3h. Let's go to number 5a. We need to figure out when x equals to negative 4, what's the derivative of dy by dx. You can use calculator, get the answer directly. But I will show you how to get the derivative first, then plug in x equals negative 4 to the derivative function. So we get the dy by dx equals 11 to the derivative minus 5x to the derivative minus 3x squared to the derivative. You will get, this is a 0. So we have negative 5. Remember, for linear function, derivative will be the slope. Then minus, drop down. 3 times 2, that's a 6x. Then I plug f prime of negative 4 into this derivative function. You will get that negative 5 minus 6 times negative 4. So you get that 19. If you use a graphing calculator, go to Math 8. Then put the function into this d by dx. Make sure the x equals negative 4. You will get that 19. Now let's go to B. Still, we are given this x equals negative 2. So we do the derivative of this y. 6, we do derivative minus x, we do derivative minus 3x squared, we do derivative. So you have, this is a 0. This will be negative 1. Drop down, that's 6x. Then you plug this negative 2 into this derivative of function. Negative 1 minus 6 times negative 2 equals 11. While you put it into a calculator, you will get the 11 too. Now let's go to C. we want to get the dA by dr. So you will get the 2r we do derivative plus 9r to the negative second power. Remember, change every term into power form. So you get the 2 because this is a linear function. Then plus drop down minus 1. So you have 9 times negative 2 times r to the negative third power. Now we organize. You will get the 2 minus 18 over r to the third power. Remember, x to the negative nth power equals 1 over x to the nth power. So we plug in a prime of 3 equals 2 minus 18 to the 3 to the third power. We put into calculator, you will get 4 over 3. So while you put into calculator, you will get a 1.333, keep going, then it's 185. If you have more than 4, 3, you can change it into fraction. But this time you have to put all digits as a 3. So you can get the 4 over 3. The reason why for this value is not like 1.3333 because the calculator is not that accurate. Now let's go to number 6. Point Q lies on the curve y equals 4x squared minus 5x plus 1. The gradient of a curve at Q is equal to 11. Find the gradient function of the curve. Gradient of function means derivative. So y prime equals 4x squared, we do derivative, minus 5x, do the derivative, plus 1, do the derivative. You will get x squared, that's 2x. So 4 times 2x minus 5. This is 0. Organize 8x minus 5. For B, find the x coordinate of Q. From the given information, the gradient of a curve at Q is equals to 11. So we will set this derivative function 8x minus 5 equals 11. Remember, the gradient of a tangent line, that's a derivative. So this derivative means gradient of the curve. Then we solve for this x. We add a 5 both sides. 8x equals 16 divided by 8x equals 2. 4. The x coordinate of Q, that's x equals 2. For C, find the y coordinate of Q. That means f of 2. We just plug 2 into original function. So we have 4 times 2 squared minus 5 times 2 plus 1. You can put this into calculator. That will be 7. Therefore, 7 will be the y coordinate of Q. Now let's go to number 7. Point P A1 lies on the curve of this. Find the two values of A. For this coordinate, x equals A, y equals 1. Since we know this point lies on the curve, we can just plug in x equals A and y equals 1 to this function. You will get 1 equals A squared minus 5A minus 5. Then we will solve this quadratic equation. For the quadratic equation, you can use equation solver, or we can just do by factoring. Let's move over here. Remember, we want to get equal to 0 if we want to use a factoring method to solve quadratic equation. Therefore, we minus 1 both sides. You will get the 0 equals a squared minus 5a minus 6. Then we do ninja x here, negative 6, negative 5, 1, 1, negative 6, 1. So we put the a. Therefore, 0 equals a minus 6 times a plus 1. You get the a1 equals 6, a2 equals 1. This will be the solution to a. So we write down a equals 6 and negative 1. For b, find the gradient function of the curve. So we get the derivative function y prime equals x squared, we do derivative, minus 5x, we do derivative, minus 5, we do derivative. Derivative for x squared, that's 2x. For 5x, it will be 5. This is a 0. So you will get the y prime equals 2x minus 5. Show that at P, the gradient of curve is equal to 7 or negative 7. So we plug x equals 6 or x equals negative 1 into this derivative function. Therefore, you will get the f prime of 6 equals 2 times 6 minus 5. That's equal to 7. F prime of negative 1, you will get the 2 times negative 1 minus 5. You will get negative 7. When you see show that, you just work this out. For D, point Q, CD is also in the curve at which the gradient of curve is equal to 11. Show that D equals 19. First of all, we use this information. The gradient of the curve is equal to 11. We know the gradient function, that is 2x minus 5. Y prime equals 2x minus 5. We will set up equals to 11 to solve for this x. This x, basically, that's the C. So we add a 5 both sides. You will get the 2x equals 16 divided by 2, x equals 8, which means this C equals 8. Then for this D, basically means f of C. That is f of 8. We plug 8 into original function. Then we put into calculator. You will get the 19. Now let's go to number 8. Point 1B lies on the curve y equals x squared minus 4x minus 4. Find the value of B. Find the gradient function of the curve. Show that P, the gradient of curve, is equal to negative 2. This is x, here is y. So we plug in B equals x, that is 1. 1 squared minus 4 times 1 minus 4. So you get the 1 minus 4 minus 4 equals negative 7. For the gradient function y prime equals x squared, we do derivative, minus 4x, we do derivative, minus 4, we do derivative. So you get the 2x minus 4. This will be the gradient function. Now look at the C. Show that P, the gradient of curve, is equal to negative 2. For this P, we know that x equals to 1. Therefore, we can get the f prime of 1. We plug into this gradient function. That is 2 times 1 minus 4 equals -2. Let's go to number 9. Consider the function f of x equals 6x squared minus x plus 1. Write down the derivative function. You will get the 6x squared do the derivative minus x, we do derivative plus 1. So you get the 12x minus 1. For B, show that at x equals 2, f of x equals f prime of x. So f of 2, we need to plug 2 into this original function. You'll get the 2 squared minus 2 plus 1. We will get the 24 minus 2 plus 1 equals 23. Then for f prime of 2 equals, we plug in here, get the 12 times 2 minus 1 equals 22. So we have f of 2 equals f prime of 2. For C, find the coordinate of a second point on the curve for f of x equals f prime of x. F of x equals 6x squared minus x plus 1. For the f prime of x equals 12x minus 1. This is a quadratic function, therefore, get the equal to 0 first. Move everything to the left side, because for this coefficient for x squared is positive. So we have 6x squared minus x minus 12x plus 1 plus 1. Combine like terms, 6x squared minus 13x plus 2 equal to 0. We can do ninja x, 12, negative 13 over 6 over 6. Then you have negative 12, negative 1. Reduce, get the negative 2, here's 1. Then you have, here's x, x. So we have x minus 2, 6x minus 1 equal to 0. x1 equals 2, x2 equals 1 over 6. Since we need a coordinate of a second point, therefore I plug 1 over 6 to the original function. That is 6 times 1 over 6 squared minus 1 over 6 plus 1. We put it into calculator, you will get equals 1. Therefore, the coordinate of a second point will be 1 over 6, 1. Or you can use equation solver to solve a quadratic function. After you set up these two equal to each other, make sure get equal to 0. Then you put into equation solver. You don't have to combine like terms before you plug into this equation solver. See, I didn't do anything. I just plug exactly the equation into this equation solver. Then I will do the alpha enter to get this value for x. I take x outside, do the math, enter, get the 1 over 6. Then I plug into the original function, I get the y coordinate for this point.